Hey, good afternoon, my dear beloved brothers and sisters. Hey, this is Matthew, Mr. Hope Richerzhagen with Phenomenal Marriage, and today we're going to talk about the number one reason why marriages struggle and fail. So as I mentioned, today we're talking about the number one reason that marriages struggle and fail, and that is selfishness. Selfishness is at the root. Pride, it says in Proverbs 13:10, only by pride cometh contention. Selfishness is such a deep, ugly root inside of us. It's really hard for us because we're so used to it. It's so hard for us to identify it and see it. And I want to explain it just briefly. This isn't a big old Bible study, but just briefly to understand this. In Galatians 6:7, it says this: God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that sows to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption or death. He that sows to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And here's the thing, my dear beloved brothers and sisters, when you do something for your flesh, and for people to understand that's who I was created to be in Adam, is all about me. Me. When you take a little baby and you pull the binky out of its mouth, wah, wah, and maybe we think that's cool in a kid, but when you see a grown woman and she punishes her husband because he doesn't do whatever she wants exactly right, or you see a grown man that punishes his wife by withdrawing him, that's not cool. That is not cool. That hurts a relationship. So we understand selfishness is me wanting my own way. I want what I want and I want it now. And what that does is it completely pushes your spouse out of the way. There's no connection. There's no oneness. And that's the whole point of marriage, is for the two of you to become one. And it's a beautiful thing. God created marriage to make us holy and happy. So we understand that when I want to take care of me, I'm selfish. Like, I want what I want. When I do that, when I push my wife and I demand things of her, that's control. Control destroys intimacy, and that's being selfish. It's all about me. And God wants us to overcome that. So now we kind of know what that is. A lot of people still struggle seeing it in themselves, but you get the idea. It's me. I want what I want and I want it now. Okay? So let's talk about some ways that we can not only identify it, but we can overcome it. Number one is to understand I was never made for me. I was never created for who I was created to be in Adam. I was created for who I am made to be, the destiny that I have in Christ. And when I'm living for myself, I'm missing out on all the love and all the joy and all the peace that God designed my life to have. And the reason that is because when I sow, whatever I sow, I'm going to reap. When I sow to the flesh, I reap corruption or death. And I don't want that. I want to sow to the Spirit so I can reap life everlasting. And this is what it looks like: love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, goodness, self-control. That's the fruit of the Spirit. That's what you reap when you walk in the Spirit instead of walking in the flesh. So let's talk about some practical ways that we can move forward to grow, to overcome selfishness, to really connect as a couple. The first thing I'm going to talk about here today is moving from me to we. And what that basically is understanding is that we became a team. There's a husband and a wife. They both say I do. They join their lives. And yes, there's like physical intimacy, which is awesome. Oh! God made it that way. Satan will actually do anything he can to get you into bed before marriage, and everything he can to keep you out of it afterwards. It's that important in your relationship. That's just a sideline. Moving from me to we is when you realize there's more to the relationship than just you. So before I got married, I did whatever I wanted to do. If I wanted to do something, I just went and did it. Well, now I understand, hey, it's not just about me. My wife's involved. My dear beloved bride is part of the picture. If I'm going to do this, how's that going to affect her? How is she going to like that? Is she going to appreciate that? Is she going to enjoy that? Moving from me to we. Understanding there's another person here. They have needs. They have wants. They have desires. I need to be aware of that. I need to lead and love and lift my wife. The next thing, number 2, is we need to understand that our spouse is different than us. And I know this is such a hard, I say these things and it sounds so simple, but people really struggle with this. Ladies, your husband is not a woman. Quit expecting him to understand like a woman. He's not. He can't. He came completely different from the factory. And I was watching this really funny piece the other day, and this gal's explaining to this guy how she talks to her husband. And she says, well, what do you think? What do you think's going on? And he said, I think you married a man. And everybody in the audience bursts up laughing because it's so funny that she can't understand that her husband is a man, not a woman. Ladies, your husband is a man. He thinks thoughts from his head. You speak feelings from your heart. It's not wrong. Both of you, neither one of you is wrong. You're just different. God made you different. If both of you were the same, one of you would be unnecessary. The gifts, talents, and abilities that your spouse has and what you have, that makes it incredibly more powerful, more advantageous, more effective whole. That's the way God made marriage. So number 3, I need to understand that control destroys intimacy. First off, my dear beloved sisters, when you punish your husband when he doesn't do what you want him to, you give him the silent treatment, you reject physical intimacy, you punish him when he does something that you don't like by being mean to him, control destroys intimacy. What you're doing is you're teaching your husband, you teach him how to love you and how to be loved by you, and you're teaching him that love isn't in the equation, because that's not love. Love doesn't behave like that. Love is patient, love is kind. Love never fails. It's none of that stuff. That's not love. That's the counterfeit to love, which is dependency. What you need to do is make requests. You need to learn to make requests. Your husband is the head, okay? God designed him to be the leader. And when you come at him as a competitor, you come at him with emotional energy as a competitor, he's going to fight you. It's not his fault per se. That's how God made him. That's his nature. That's like gravity goes down, you come at your husband as a competitor and he's going to fight you. If you come at him, you come towards him as a compliment, you come underneath him, he's naturally going to want to protect you and provide for you. That's the way God made him. Quit fighting your husband. Quit trying to control him. Now, my dear beloved brothers, let me say this to you. Yes, you're the leader. Yes, God's called you to lead and love and lift your wife. The thing is, if you try and force stuff on her, she's going to feel the same way. She's going to resist you. True leadership is getting people to do what you want them to do because they want to do it. And I want to encourage you to quit trying to control your spouse. So the next thing I want to talk about in this video is that marriage is a team sport. So many couples struggle with this, and it's a husband pitted against the wife. Who's going to win? Who's going to get their needs met? In a real life successful marriage, the answer, who's going to get their needs met, is both. It's a team sport. If you get in an argument and one of you wins, one of you loses, that means you lost. I know that's hard for some people to understand. It's a team sport. If you get in an argument, you get in a discussion, you both feel heard, you both get your needs met, then you win. That's how marriage works. Marriage is a team sport. When one of you fails, swat them on the behind end and get them back in the game. Tell them you'll do good next time. And guys, if I could just share this with you, my dear beloved brothers, when your wife fails, own the responsibility for the whole thing. Like whatever she did, don't rub her nose in it. You take responsibility for the whole thing and you say, it's okay, babe. We'll get it next time. Because then she's safe. Her secondary, deepest abiding emotional need is security. And she needs to feel safe with you. And you taking the responsibility and not blaming her opens up her heart so she can be more feminine with you. The next thing I want to talk about is understanding my needs and my spouse's needs. The number one reason marriages fail is selfishness. And number 2 is people don't understand their spouse. They don't understand themselves. Men, a woman's deepest abiding emotional need is to be loved and cherished. You gotta understand, she's different than you. We need respect. Yes, we need love. Duh. And people fight all the time. They say, men still need love. Women still need respect. Yes, they do. At the ultimate bottom root, every positive emotion is love. Positive regard. Okay, goodwill. Positive regard. Love and respect are very, very close, but they're different. And guys, your wife needs to know that you cherish her, that she's special, that she's precious. It's so easy for us. We understand respect. We're going to get this done. Well, she's not exactly like that. She's tender. She's precious. In 1 Peter, it says, men, treat your wives as the weaker vessel. Does that mean that she's weaker? Yeah, it does. And what it means is not less valuable. It's even more valuable. I asked my wife, babe, what does that mean to you? She said it's like fine china. You have fine china when you have company over, and you take extra special care of it. That's how you need to treat your wife. And ladies, you gotta understand, your husband's deepest abiding emotional need is respect. And you need to reverence. In the King James, it talks about reverence, honor and respect your husband. And so many women say, well, I'll respect him when he deserves it. No! That's horrible! No, can you imagine if he said to you, I'll love you when you deserve it? That's horrible. Yes, you recoil in your soul. That's how you should feel about what you just said. It's funny, it says in Ephesians 5, it talks about a woman's responsibility before it ever mentions the man. A lot of women say, well, if he loved me like he's supposed to, then I wouldn't have any problem submitting or respecting. Ladies, you have a responsibility. Your husband needs respect. It's a need. It's not a want. He needs you to like him, to admire him. And you say, well, he isn't likable. Well, pray for him. Pray for blessing on him. See him as God created him to be. And you'll have empathy for him. And when you see him that way, it's going to draw you together. It's going to bring you closer and closer together so that you will be a team, that you'll be friends, partners, and lovers. One of the things I want to talk about here is your life is a pyramid. There's things you do more of and things you do less of. And my dear beloved brothers, I know, like I'm a guy too, I understand how important physical intimacy is. The thing is, if that's the most important thing and you don't build friendship and partnership in your relationship, if you are friends, partners, and then lovers, you're going to have a rock solid pyramid in your relationship. You're gonna have difficulties, and it's okay because you're friends and you're working through life together as partners. And you don't have two different visions. Sometimes I meet couples and she has a career and he has a career and they just kind of barely relate. Vision and vision leads to division, and division leads to divorce. God calls you to be one flesh, that you have one purpose. And I'm not saying a woman can't work. It's really important that you have a goal, that you're doing life together. You can't live in two houses. You can't go on two vacations. You can't go to the beach in the mountains. Like, you're together. You got to decide that you're going to do this thing called life together. One soul, spirit, soul, and body. And when you focus on building together as friends, you really have a really good foundation as friends. You really like each other. And then your partners, you're doing life together. Yes, one of you takes out the trash, one of you makes dinner, whatever it is. I'm not saying there isn't a division of labor, but you're doing it together with one goal for you as a team. You share your money, you share your sheets, you share the shower. Yeah, baby. Okay, another thing that's really important is to connect with daily rituals. When I come home at the end of the day, my wife meets me at the door. She gives me a hug and a kiss, and I ask her about her day. And what that does, every single day, that allows us to connect as friends, partners, and lovers. Every single day, we're making deposits in each other's love bank. And the thing is, every single morning we snuggle. Every single morning we snuggle and pray together. Every single night. Unless, one of us is gone somewhere, we're on a trip or whatever, every single night we pray and we snuggle together. And it's so important, my dear beloved brothers and sisters, because those connection rituals draw you together. They cement you together, because life is full of trials and challenges. And if you don't have that fusion together, all that junk is going to get in between you and you're going to grow apart. A relationship is just like anything else. If you don't put energy into it, it's going to fall apart. It follows the second law of thermodynamics, that an energy system, a system needs new energy all the time or it decays and falls apart. So my dear beloved brothers and sisters, I just want to thank you for watching this video, and I want you to understand that you can make a difference. You can understand how to overcome selfishness by understanding that my life isn't just about me. I wasn't created just for me, and when I demand my own way, when I try and look good, when I try and push, then I'm sowing to the flesh, and I'm going to reap corruption or death. And I don't want that. That's not who I am. That's not what I want. It's not going to produce life and love in my relationship. And I need to understand these different aspects of selfishness so I can show up, move from me to we, so I can show up with intention, trying to do these daily connection rituals and investing in my spouse every day. And I will have a better relationship, and you will have a better relationship as you seek your spouse. Wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.